What is up, guys? PokeAim here, and today I have a 5th gen simulated match versus HBK. Unfortunately for you guys, it's not a Wi-Fi match. I'm really sorry about that, but I've been pretty busy with real life stuff to actually get a good Wi-Fi match done. So in any case, this is a standard 5th gen match versus HBK. We were on the 5th gen smoke gun ladder, and we got each other. It turned out to be a really good match. So let's look at the team preview that you probably have been staring at for the past few seconds, and probably like, what the hell is that? Anyway, that's a team preview that I drew. Looking at his team, it's pretty standard sand, except for, I guess, Hydreigon and Slowbro, which you really don't see that much. And my team is pretty much standard sand too, since we're pretty much both being OU whores right here. So I'm thinking that Terrakion would definitely be the best lead. I'm adamant choice bandit. I'm that strong Terrakion, and I can definitely one-shot the majority of his team, and I guess two-shot whatever I need to, depending on if I switch up moves. That Slowbro is going to be a problem just because Terrakion, it pretty much does wall my Terrakion. But I guess looking at his team, I can easily play around his members. I'm not scared at all. I do have members to play around the teams the Pokemon that he has. So depending on how well I play, I guess this match will be pretty good. So I'm bleeding off with Terrakion. He's going to be leading off with his Hydreigon, so let's just get into this match right here. So like I said, I'm leading off with my Terrakion. He's going to be leading off with his Hydreigon. I'm just going to go for the close combat, not wanting to over-predict first turn, as he does end up switching into his Slowbro, predicting that, taking that really nicely. And now I'm actually going to switch into my Gastrodon just because I figured he would try and T-Wave me or even Scald me, I guess, if he wants to play pretty obvious. But he actually ends up switching into his Fortress as I end up going into my Gastrodon. Now I'm just going to go for the Scald, trying to break that Sturdy, as he actually ends up switching to Slowbro, and unfortunately for me, I do get the burn. I didn't want that because I do have the Toxic, which would have been nicer, but I figured the only reason he would go into Slowbro purposely on a Gastrodon is if he had the Toxic. So I'm actually going to switch into my Reuniclus, predicting that Toxic, as he does do just that, and I'm figuring he's going to switch into his Tyranitar directly in on this Reuniclus, expecting me to go for the Shadow Ball or maybe even the Calm Mind or the Psychic. So I'm actually going to go for the Focus Blast, as he does do just that. Does a decent chunk, and now I'm free to switch out. Unfortunately for me, though, he does predict that, but because he did go for the Pursuit and it only did about 50%, I know he's more of a specially defensive Tyranitar, not like a Scarf or anything along those lines. So I go into my Skarmory, gonna double switch into my Terrakion just in case he has a Fire Blast, as he ends up switching into his Fortress. I missed my first Stone Edge on that Fortress, which sucks because I don't break that Sturdy. Gonna go for it again just to break the Sturdy, as he able to get up his Spikes and his Stealth Rocks a turn earlier. And I'm gonna go for the Stone Edge one more time. At this point, he didn't know I was adamant choice bandit, but I'm pretty sure when he went into his Slowbro, he figured out right here, because look at that damage. That's 2 KOing Slowbro after Stealth Rocks easy. So goes into his Slowbro. He's forced to switch out just to get some Regenerator as he goes into his Terrakion. Big mistake, because even though you do resist that Terrakion is a big threat and a strong user, so you're going to take 50% from that Stone Edge. So now I'm going to go into my Skarmory, figuring he's a Scarf Terrakion, just looking at his team, figuring I can easily take a close combat. I do take that pretty well, and now I'm free to go for the Roost, as he is going to switch into his Fortress. Now, I figured the only reason he would go into his Fortress if I didn't lay up hazards yet is if he was carrying the Volt Switch. So I'm actually going to go into my Gastrodon, as he does end up doing just that, which is great for me because I am immune to that. I am able to recover some HP with the leftovers, and he's pretty much not able to do anything this turn. So now I'm predicting him to switch into his Slowbro, so I'm actually going to double switch into my Tyranitar, as he does do just that. And this is fine by me. Even though I am a special defensive Tyranitar, I'm figuring a Crunch could do a decent chunk to this Slowbro. I end up going for the Crunch, as he does end up taking that pretty well just because he is physically defensive. Only does about 40%. He is able to slack off the damage, and even though the Pre-O replayer doesn't show his HP at the moment, he does have pretty high HP. So now I'm predicting him to switch out, as he does do just that. So I'm going to go for the Pursuit. Does about the same damage as Crunch, and he is able to get the free switch pretty much into his Terrakion. So I don't want to switch out versus Terrakion. It is a big threat. Terrakion, as most of you guys know, is a big threat anyway. So I'm actually going to leave in my Tyranitar as Death Fodder, and just going to go into my Skarmory. I stupidly hit Brave Bird right here. Not gonna lie, that was a pretty stupid move. I don't know what I was thinking right here. I guess I was looking at his team and like, is he adamant choice bandit? No, he's choice Scarf. I already figured that out. So that was the only reason why I went for the Braver right there. Now I'm gonna go into my Gastrodon, as he does go into his Fortress, just to I'm pretty much expecting him not to switch out with his Fortress. I'm expecting him to stay in and get up all his hazards, which is exactly what he does, which means I am free to go for the Scald, and I am able to get that burn, which is nice because that residual damage is going to be racking up on this Fortress. So I'm actually going to go for the Scald again, expecting him not to switch into his Slowbro, as he does do exactly what I was thinking. He does actually end up switching out into something else, which is his Tyranitar. Not going to take that Scald really well. In hindsight, I could have stayed in right there and went for the Scald again, since his Crunch wouldn't have been able to KO my Gastrodon, but I'm actually going to switch into my Skarmory just to take that predicted Crunch, and I'm going to lay up my first layer of Spikes, as he does turn out to carry the Fire Blast. So luckily for me, I am able to take that, and now unluckily for him, he's actually going to miss his second Fire Blast, which really sucks for him, but Hacks does end up going more in his favor later on in the match if you just continue to watch. So I end up whirling him out into his Terrakion. He's free to just go for the close combat to be able to knock me out. Now I'm free to go into my Reuniclus, and I know he's not going to go directly into his Tyranitar just in case I do go for the Focus Blast. So I'm free to set up a Calm Mind because I know he's going to go into his Fortress to try and Rapid Spin away those hazards, since he really can't switch into his Tyranitar just in case I did go for the Focus Blast. So this Fortress is pretty much setup fodder, since he has to stay in until he dies to burn, especially since he is faster, just because if he Volt switches out, I can easily go for the Focus Blast, predicting that, and knock out his Pokemon. So he is going to go down to burn right here, but this is great for me because I am able to get up 2 Calm Minds versus this Fortress, and like I said, this Fortress was pretty much set up fodder. So now he's free to go into his Tyranitar. I know based on that pursuit damage that he is a more of a specialty defensive one, so I know that this Crunch isn't going to do that much to me. It's actually going to be a 2 KO obviously, but I'm going to be able to live that. Now unfortunately for me, this is where the Hacks did replay him. He did get that defense drop, which means I can't stay in versus this Terrakion, because I know he's going to go for the X Scissor. If he didn't get the defense drop, I could have stayed in, taken the X Scissor, recovered off the damage, and even fired off a Side Shock to knock him out. But now because he did get the defense drop, I'm forced to go into my Gastrodon and pretty much sack it to the next 2 X Scissors. So now I'm free to go into my Terrakion since I know he's locked into his X Scissor, and I'm just going to go for the Stone Edge, predicting him to go into his Slowbro, as he does do just that. Now unfortunately for me, I do miss the first Stone Edge, but it doesn't matter at all because the second Stone Edge is going to connect and his Slowbro is going to go down, so that big threat is gone. That's pretty much the only thing that was stopping my Terrakion. So now he goes into his own Terrakion. I know he's going to go for the close combat, which means I'm free to go into my Reuniclus to take that pretty well, and that also means that he's going to have to switch out his Terrakion unless he wants it to die, and I'm going to be free to get up a free recover. So he actually ends up switching out into his Hydreigon. It has leftovers. This is his famous taunt 3 attack Hydreigon that I'm pretty sure he's the only one that uses that. So he's actually going to hit me with a Dragon Pulse. I'm going to go for the first Focus Blast. Luckily it does hit, as he is able to hit me with that Dragon Pulse. Now I was fearing him to knock me down pretty low, so I wanted to go for the recover. Unfortunately for me though, he does predict that really nicely, so he goes for the taunt. Good play on his part. I'm not able to recover up with recover obviously, and now I have to hope that my second Focus Blast does hit. It only has a 49% chance, so it actually is going to miss right here, which really sucks. But because that Dragon Pulse that he did do on my Reuniclus did do 44%, that is just above max damage of timid Hydreigon. So I know this Hydreigon is actually modest, which means my Adamant Choice Banded Terrakion does outspeed, and I'm free to go for the Stone Edge. I have no idea why I hit Stone Edge. I should have hit Close Combat in hindsight, because the rest of his team is pretty much hurt really bad by close combat, and if I would have missed Stone Edge, that really would have sucked. But in any case, it does hit, able to knock him out. He's free to go into his own Terrakion to outspeed me and knock me out, and I'm down to my last Pokemon, which is my Tangrowth. So I know I could take a Scarf close combat pretty well, so I'm going to be able to take this close combat. Gonna be able to knock him out with the Giga Drain, and at the same time I'm draining them souls, so I am able to recover to a decent amount of HP from the Giga Drain recovery. He's down to his last Pokemon, which is his Rotom-Wash. It is a defensive variant, so he's actually going to go for the Will-O-Wisp, trying to get some residual damage racking up on my Tangrowth, as I actually go for the Giga Drain. Now unfortunately for me, my Giga Drain gets minimum damage on the first Giga Drain, of course, so I have to hope that I get average damage or even max damage to be able to KO him the second time. Luckily for me though, his Hydro Pump doesn't knock me out, and I am able to get average damage on this next Giga Drain, which means that Sandstorm is going to knock out his Rotom-Wash, and I'm free to get that narrow 1-0. So really good game, HBK. Big shoutouts to Yusei, the Synchro Hero, who did record this for me. He's a bro, he's a boss for that. And yeah, until next time guys, later Project MoshPit. I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed this. Yeah, so until next, bye.